Okay, you've made an initial pass at the value map for your business. Now the process continues by enhancing your value architecture and raising some questions that may be a little more difficult to answer. Their purpose is to further stimulate the generation of fresh insights. As you may recall, in nest number 5, we talked about the different kinds of value flows. One of them was called a reverse value flow that represents the values that come back to you from the market in the form of feedback from customers or information about the market's composition and growth and so forth. It was shown by a purple arrow. So what are your reverse value flows? How do you get them and how often? Draw them and detail them. Now think hard, because you and your team may not be sensitive to this one. What negative value flows are there? These are the ones that detract in any way from the values you are delivering. Draw them and also detail them. Okay, now comes the fun part, because it is also the most creative part. I want you to take that value map and shake it. I want to see you do that one on a whiteboard. Are there any value flows that could be improved? Like more values delivered, enhanced reverse values, reduced negative values, and so on. Next, how well do the values you create match your customers' needs and values? Can you compare the two? Do these break down into segments or cohorts so that you could be thinking about what a different package of values for different parts of your market? Are there any values they have that you are not satisfying? And if so, could you satisfy them in some way, perhaps by engaging a partner? This is sometimes referred to as cross-selling. Next, could you employ a modified strategy where you provide some portion of your value package at low cost or perhaps even free, so as to encourage them to make use of your entire package for more money? This is sometimes called upselling. And if you have a large potential for growth, what could you do to power your scaling process? What changes in the architecture of your value map might be possible and advantageous? Remember the RV example in our last nest number 5 where Smalley found a value bypass? That was a change in the architecture or the structure of his value map. Now, think about, does your competitor's map look different? And if so, you might want to sketch it on a different part of the whiteboard and compare it to yours. So what advantages and disadvantages does that have relative to yours? What new technology could affect your business, and what, if anything, could you do about it? And if you are a market leader, could a startup offer your customers certain values on your value map that are new or different or exciting? And finally, as a good executive, having done all this, compile all the changes you've considered and conclude with a listing of actions required, ARs as we call them at Intel. Whether it's getting more information or testing an idea that came up or putting into effect one of the obvious changes that are needed, along with who is responsible for carrying them out. And one last thing. If you do all this, including taking the necessary actions, at some time in the future, convene a follow-up meeting to check your progress and see if any further changes on your value map and your business are needed. To review, here's the list of key questions and steps we just went over. If you want to make note of them, just freeze the video for a moment. So good luck with your value mapping process. I hope you get some insights or real ahas from it. I would welcome getting some reverse value flows from you about what your experience was like in developing your value map and how useful you found it to be. Just drop me a note at lfray@valuemap.com.